Good morning. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. Decided maybe I do today's vlog early and then I for sure get it done. Anyway, this is going to be about my worst job. Oh yeah. This is for Shannon. Cup of coffee. Anyway, my worst job, I worked in a fried chicken, southern style fried chicken restaurant. And the people they hired were mentally challenged. They wouldn't allow them to cook. They worked the registers. And they weren't allowed to use the saws to cut up chicken. So that was my job, cooking and cutting up chicken. And various other things. But anyway, I would have to take 40-pound boxes, flip them upside down, and toss them in the vat. And at that time, I only weighed like 103 pounds, so I was pretty stout, I guess, for a little girl. And then I'd stick them in the vat and mix a marinade. And they were supposed to go back in the cooler, but they were always so far behind on having chicken made up that they'd let it sit in the hallway for 8 hours instead of the however many, 18 or 30 some hours. I think it was 30 some hours it was supposed to sit in the cooler or something. I don't know. But anyway, I would never eat the chicken there just because I knew how it was done on the marinating. I ate the coleslaw and nothing else. And I would work split shifts. I would, if I was off in between, I would go to Wendy's or something to pick up lunch. I would not eat my free lunch there. That's how grotesque it was. Or in my mind it was. I wasn't eating their chicken. So the bosses were really lazy. One night I was real busy and went to ask the boss for some help, and he was sitting in there in his office with his feet up on his desk, leaned back in his chair taking a nap. I mean, come on. That's lazy. And then the last night I worked there, next day was supposed to be a health department inspection. Well, they didn't pay overtime. If you were scheduled to work till 11 o'clock at night, then your pay stopped at 11 o'clock at night. Even if you worked till 4 in the morning cleaning the place. And, you know, and $1.80 something an hour, I mean, come on. That sucked. But anyway, the boss got the ladder out, and I had to go up on the roof at 2 o'clock in the morning. And there was like a vent up there I had to hose down. While he stood and watched the ladder, because the chicken place was in kind of a bad part of town, especially at night. In the daytime it wasn't, but a lot of mischief went on in that part of town at night. And so he watched the ladder while I hosed this thing down and scrubbed it down. And finally, about 4 o'clock in the morning, I got off work, and my husband, my first husband, he had got off work, and he sat there and waited in the car for me for like 2.5 hours. And so we discussed it on the way home, and that was my last day to work. And then, I didn't have a real big check coming, but payday wasn't for like a couple weeks, so I went back to get my last check, and it disappeared. They didn't know what happened to it. Somebody took it off the bulletin board, so I never even got paid for working in the place. So, which really stunk. Not that it was much, but I come out with a better job that made like $4 an hour, and back then that was decent anyway. So, but that's the worst job I had. I've had a few that were kind of sucky, but that's the worst one. So what was your worst job? Later, I gotta go get ready for work.